Hello, my name is Suzanne Long, Professor of Accounting with Jackson College, and today we're going to be working on the high-low method, which is part of break-even analysis or cost volume profit analysis. Let me just check one setting here. Yeah, I think we're good. Okay, just going to do a little bit of a review here on cost types. So there's fixed cost, variable cost, mixed cost, and step costs. In particular, we're going to see fixed, and variable. And if you add them all up, you get total cost. So those are some different types of costs. Mixed is both fixed and variable. Step. Step maybe I shouldn't have introduced yet, but step costs are in stages of depending on how much volume or production a company has. So those are the types of costs. And one formula that we're going to look at in our work is that total cost is made up of fixed plus variable. We're going to see that relationship over and over again. Total cost is made up of two categories of cost, fixed cost and variable cost. So just a little quick review down here on cost types. Let's see what information is given, and we're going to get right into this and play around with the high-low method. So we are a publishing company, and we're analyzing equipment maintenance expense. Notice this is described as a mixed cost. There's a variable portion and a fixed portion. And then here's our information. So you just want to kind of scan the information first. We've got 6 months. We've got production volume. So this is a quantity, a number, not a dollar amount. And then we've got the equipment maintenance cost, which is the account that we're analyzing. How much equipment maintenance cost or equipment maintenance expense do we have at each production level? So as production goes up, like this appears to be the highest one, 480, we also have the highest expense, that kind of thing. All right, let's do it. So we've got a couple of requirements over here. And in the blue, I sort of preloaded this file with a few ideas that I have about how this might work well. So I'm going to start each one of these sections with the formula that we need to do the work, and then the calculation, and then there's some extra things here. Let's look at the first one. Calculate the variable rate for equipment maintenance cost. Do not round. That becomes important later. Variable rate. What are they talking about, variable rate? That's variable cost per unit. Variable rate cost. Variable cost per unit. Notice it doesn't say that. So it's you have to know that. You have to know it's chapter 5. We're working on high-low method. Something about variable. Yeah, we got to do this. So you need this formula. Variable cost per unit equals the change in cost divided by the change in volume. So we're going to do that. Variable cost per unit equals the change in cost using the high-low method. What the heck does that mean? Change in cost. Okay, so we're going to stay right here, and we're going to analyze cost, and we're looking for the high and the low. Okay, here's the highest number. This is like Blue's Clues. Which number is the biggest number, and which one's the smallest? This one's the smallest. Okay, so that's the high, 7,600, and that's the low, 2,900. So 7,600 minus 2,900. That is the change in cost. How much did cost change between the highest and the lowest amount? And that's it. That's all it is. So don't make it any harder than that. Think Sesame Street. Think Blue's Clues. Think Dora the Explorer. Which number is the biggest? Which number is the smallest? And subtract. That's it. Now, we picked April and May. and we have to stick with April and May. You can't pick two amounts over here and then two different amounts over here. We've got to be consistent and go with the same 2 months. So now I'm going to look at production, and I'm just curious, but it is also the high and the low. But if it wasn't, we'd have to stick with the same 2 months. Whichever you're going to pick for your high, we're going to go along with it on the other side between cost and volume. In this case, it is the same 2 months, so we're okay. All right, so now we need change in volume. So we're going to have 480,000 books minus 80,000 books. Let's get that in there. 480 minus 80. Okay, so that's what we need for the formula. Now, some of you are just going to be like, give me the formula, let me put the numbers in, I'm done. Yep, that's fine. And some of you are going to be like, no, I want to think about it a little bit. I'm copying and pasting, I'm going to get rid of the words, and I'm going to tighten it up and just make it a formula. What I had above was a little bit smoother, nicer, so it would look a little bit nicer in this file for this video. Okay, so I've got this number down there, and notice it's in the bottom right corner of this cell. I want to show you a couple things you can do with placement. Up here in alignment, I could say I want it in the middle. That's top and bottom middle. I could say I want it in the middle, left and right. You could put it over to the left. You could put it in the top corner. I mean, you can put it wherever you want it. I think I like the idea of right smack in the middle of the cell. And this is cost, variable cost per unit, so it should be a dollar amount. And it said don't round, so I just want to play with, I'm up here in the decimal place area. How far out, oh, there it is. How far out do I have to go before it doesn't matter? So it's about 6 places out. So I'm going to leave, say, 2 zeros there just so I remember what I did. It says do not round. So when I use this variable cost per unit number later, which we will, I need to use 0.01175, not 0.012, and not 0.01, but the whole thing, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and highlight that. That's the answer to part A. Variable rate, equipment maintenance cost, is just over 1 cent per unit. Okay, let's take a look at B. Calculate the fixed portion of the equipment maintenance cost. Okay, so we did variable cost per unit. Now we're going to do fixed cost. So we need this formula, which I also mentioned down here. Total cost, super simple. Total cost is made up of 2 sections of cost, fixed cost and variable cost. Right now, we're working on fixed cost. We don't know what fixed cost is. And to do this, we're going to apply that total cost equals fixed plus variable, and we're going to use one of these months. It doesn't matter which month. I'm going to go ahead and pick the big month. Whatever you do, just, pick one and stick with, so in this case, we're going to stick with May. Total cost is $7,600. That's the total equipment maintenance cost, and part of it is fixed and part of it is variable. So the total cost is $7,600. I don't know what fixed cost is. That's what I'm solving for. I have no idea what it is, but I'm going to start it based on the 7,600. Fixed cost I don't know. Now I'm working on variable costs. Okay, variable cost, we got this part up here, that a little over 1 cent per unit, and we're on this line, so we want this many units. So variable cost is this much per unit times 480,000 units. So let's get that in our little documentation here. 0.01175 times 480,000. And again, I'm specifically typing it in a way so that you can see it in the file, and then I'm going to run the calculation next. Okay, now I'm working kind of my algebra here. Now I need to do this calculation. What is 0.01175 times 480,000? Okay, so variable cost is $56.40. And just notice I'm being, kind of loosey here. So 7,600 is still there, equals fixed cost is there, plus this number is this number. I just did it over there because I'm using a formula. I want Excel to do the math for me. Now I need to figure out how much fixed cost is. So this would be negative 5640 here, negative 5640 here, 7,600 subtract 5640 to calculate fixed cost. I'm just going to go ahead and do it this way. Fixed cost equals 7,600 minus 5640. These two added up. This is variable, this is fixed. Adds up to my 7,600. And this is what we're solving for in part B, fixed cost. Now I said test it out. Let's test it out. I'm saying that 7,600 is made up of fixed cost 1960 and variable of 5640. Does that actually work? 1960 plus 5640, does that equal 76? Yes. So I'm adding this little, did that really work? Did that really do what I wanted it to do? Yeah, I'm good. This is kind of like going backwards or going back through it down here. Keep it simple. Total cost, 7,600. Fixed cost, that's what we're solving for. Variable cost per unit times the number of units. Be careful about what they're asking for. They're asking for fixed, so that's the answer, the 1960. So we calculated variable per unit, and we calculated total fixed cost. All right, let's look at requirement C. Assume that 420 novels is budgeted. Okay, well then what happens? What's our total cost at this volume level or this production level? What is the total? Okay, so now we're solving for total cost. Notice that this one we were solving for fixed cost. Now we're solving for total cost. So total cost I don't know. Fixed cost we just figured out. And variable cost, we know that variable cost per unit is the little more than 1 cent per unit. And now we're going to use 420. So I've got my 0.01175. And now we're at 420,000. Like that. Keep it simple. Total cost, fixed cost, variable cost. And then run your numbers, so to speak. I'm copying and pasting, and then I'm cleaning it up, so to speak, so that Excel can run that formula for me. Maybe I shouldn't have done those spaces, but I did the spaces so that it looked maybe a little nicer in the view. I'd like a $sign there, no decimal places, and highlight. Total cost, $68.95. And then I'm saying, how confident are you about that? I mean, you got it. You got a number. Is that the right number? Well, let's play with it. At 480,000 novels, our total equipment maintenance cost is $760. At 480 novels produced, published, let's say published. Total cost is $7,600. So I'm using a sentence to state this information. At 480,000 novels quantity, our total cost is $7,600. And then we just figured out that at 420,000 novels, total cost is $68.95. Let's type that up. 420,000 novels. Total cost is $68.95. And then just look at these two statements. These two sentences summarize what was given and what we calculated. How does that look? 480 versus 420, 7,600 versus 6,895. Just going to put a little $sign in there. I think I'll like it a little better. Yeah, that's reasonable, right? This one's bigger, but not much. This one's bigger, but not much. Oops, didn't get a $sign. I got a percent sign. Oh. So, when I add this little test it out, audit it, that's my way of, what do I think about that number? Does that really work? Yeah, just kind of testing, playing, auditing, making sure I'm happy with it. So the answer to C is 68.95, and we are done with the high-low method. Keep it simple. Use your formulas. All right, that's it for today. Have a great day, and I'll see you again soon.